Example number 5, we are going to solve 4x squared minus 7x plus 1 is equal to 0 by completing the square. So we will follow the same steps as the previous examples. Make x squared plus bx on one side, on the left hand side, and then add 1/2 times b and then square on both sides. So these two are the main steps. So let's get to work. I need to have x squared plus bx on one side. So first, let's move the 1 to the other side. We are going to subtract 1 here, cancel this out, and then subtract 1 right there. So then we get 4x squared, and then bring down the minus 7x, and that's equal to -1. But we insist to just have x squared. Right? We insist to just have x squared. We do not want to have a 4 in front of the x squared here. So let's divide by 4 right here to cancel out this 4. But then I also have to divide by 4 on the rest of the terms. Then I'll end up with x squared minus 7 over 4 x, and leave some space. It's equal to -1 over 4 like that. And the reason that we leave some space is because now we have to figure out what number should we add so that this side we can complete the square. We can factor it and then we can get like x minus something or plus something to the second power. Okay? And that number is 1/2 times b to the second power. And in our case, x squared and then b is the number in front of the x. So b in this case is -7 over 4. So let me write this down. b is -7 over 4. So then I will go to the side. I will figure out what's 1/2 times b raised to the second power. And this is just 1/2 times b is -7 over 4. And I have to raise that to the second power. Inside here, I'm multiplying fractions. 1/2 times -7 over 4. Make sure that to check if we can reduce anything first. Unfortunately, we can't. So you just do 1 times -7, which is -7 on the top, over 2 times 4, which is 8. Take that, don't forget the square, and we get -7 over 8 squared. To do this, you can just do -7 times -7, you get positive 49, over 8 squared, which is just 8 times 8, which is 64. So this number, it's a number that we are going to add on both sides. So let me put down plus 49 over 64, and also plus 49 over 64. And now the left hand side looks pretty crazy because, well, the -7 over 4 right here, and also this the 49 over 64 right here, it looks really crazy. But then if we are doing these two steps correctly, the left hand side is always going to be factorable. We should always be able to factor out the left hand side to be something inside to the second power. Okay? And as I have shown in the previous video, we can just do that by doing the following. Well, since we have x squared, so we're going to use x. And then to figure out what this number should be, this number is actually known. This number is just whatever that we have it right here before we square it. This number here, we're just going to put down -7, so -7 over 8, and to the second power. So this is how we can factor out x squared minus 7 over 4x plus 49 over 64. So as you see, you should always show your work, because you can now, to figure that out, you can just use the part of the work that you have shown, which is the -7 over 8. Instead of this parentheses, just put this down here, right? And if you check out the previous video, and you should see that how it works. And you can also just multiply things out, and you'll see this square, it's exactly x squared minus 7 over 4x plus 49 over 64. Equals to, now here I have -1 over 4 plus 49 over 64. We just need to add fractions. So cover this. We are going to add fractions, so we need to determine the LCD first. Well, 4 and 64. I think 64 is the lowest common denominator because 4 thus goes into 64 and 64 also of course goes into 64. So to add fractions real quick, let me put down 64 plus blank over 64 like this. And let me ask you, 4 times what will be 64? And the answer to that is 16. So you should multiply 16 to be 4 to get 64. You also need to multiply 16 on the top. Negative 1 times 16, which is negative 16. And then on this fraction, we already have 49 over 64. So the top doesn't need to be changed. Okay? And then right here, we need to add up the fractions. So negative 16 plus 49, we just need to add the top. We get negative 33 over the bottom stays the same, 64. And since we didn't touch the left hand side, we just write down x minus 7 over 8 squared. So now we have something inside of the parentheses to the second power, it's equal to a number, right? Even though it's a fraction, even though it's a negative number, it's okay, we can handle it. Square root both sides, and don't forget the plus minus on the number. Square root cancels, I will have x minus 7 over 8 equals to plus minus square root of negative 33 over 64. But then let's figure out to see if there's anything that we can do. Well, since these two, right, the negative 33 and then the denominator 64, they are both under the square root. We are just going to do the square root separately. If we look at the top, square root of negative 33. Whenever you have a negative inside of the square root, that becomes an I. So put on I first. But then, square root of 33, we cannot simplify that, right? And you should actually be happy to get something that we cannot simplify, because we just need to write it down, square root of 33. So again, the negative inside becomes the I on the outside. And then the 33 stays inside. Okay? Over, on the denominator, we have square root of 64, which is a nice number 8. So put down the 8. And then don't forget we still have the plus minus. Let me just use plus minus. Because the key part right here is do not forget the negative 33. The negative inside turns out to be an I on the outside. Okay, now to finish this up, plus 7 over 8 on both sides. So these two cancels, right? These two fractions cancels, and then I will end up with x by itself equals to positive 7 over 8 plus minus. So whenever we say plus minus, that means we have actually two solutions. So 7 over 8 plus minus I square root of 33 over 8. And we put the I in front of the square root. Okay? So this is the answer, and 7 over 8 we can check, we cannot reduce that, so there's nothing that we can do. And then square root of 33 we cannot simplify, over 8, that's it. And you can also think that some other people may combine these two expressions and write it as, also another way to write this is 7 plus minus I square root of 33. Since the denominators are the same, so we can also put it as all over 8. So either one you circle will be the answer. So let me just circle this one. Or you can also write the answer in this way.